Well, thank you for joining me. I'm talking to Nick Stillman from Sydney Psych five-piece Peel. Hey, how you going?
Good, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. Look, I enjoy that you're in a very professional looking studio.
I know it's almost too professional. I feel, yeah, overexposed.
So, look, Peel have like exploded onto the scene. As far as I'm concerned, you came out with a really serious bang with your first release, Memory Loop, and you've just last week followed up with this new single, DYNA, DYNA. Tell me about the concept around DYNA because I don't know, I'm quite interested in like songs as like a standalone narrative, and I feel like you've really like tested the boundaries of that with this one. I know your drummer Tom Kell
Yeah,
wrote the lyrics. He was influenced by sci-fi writers like H.P. Lovecraft. Can you tell me about the narrative of this song?
yeah. I wish Tom was here because he could probably talk for hours about it. But this song was kind of funny because most of the other stuff we've written so far had been written by me in isolation, and this track was actually written by Harry, our guitarist, and he wrote it ages ago, kind of like 4 or 5 years ago when we were playing in our last band, and it kind of had a structure, but wasn't really working, and Harry kind of just like pulled it together and demoed it, and it kind of finally came together as a song, but it didn't really have a melody and it didn't really have any lyrics. And I don't know, I was kind of writing my own stuff at the time and I couldn't really get into, I don't know, I just couldn't think of any melodies. I couldn't really put any lyrics to it because it wasn't really my song. So um, Tom's an excellent songwriter in his own right. So
Yeah.
um, we're actually in the studio doing, I think we're recording Memory Loop, and we're kind of talking about doing DYNA next. And we're like, oh, we need to get some lyrics and a melody down. So, and we literally just said, hey, Tom, can you just go and write something for it? And he like just came up with this weird idea that DYNA was this like robot from outer space, and just kind of like he literally just walked around the studio for about half an hour with a notepad writing these lyrics down and writing this story. I don't know if everything came together that quickly, but yeah, he's a pretty imaginative guy. So he kind of just like wrote this story about this robot in space who kind of like took people around for joyrides, and it's got a bit of a sinister edge to it too, which is a bit I don't know, there's a sinister undercurrent to the song, and
Yeah.
it's got a bit of a yeah, a cliffhanger ending, but it's definitely the most like theatrical song lyrically that we've written. Yeah.
I love the idea that you were like, just can you just like go write us some lyrics? And he's like, oh, you
Yeah.
want me to write you some lyrics?
Okay.
Yes. I'll write you a
I
sci-fi
know.
epic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not many
But
people can do that, but
no.
yeah, Tom, he's yeah, he's on another planet.
So the members of Peel, you guys have all, I mean, you've all known each other for years, right? You've all played in lots of different bands for years. Several of you are members of Misty Lanes. How different has the experience of launching a project like Peel been in the midst of this like COVID come down that Sydney's in compared to
Mm.
some of those other experiences? Because you're such a strong live act. Um, what's that been like?
It was actually kind of a blessing in a way. Like obviously, like starting to play live in the middle of the pandemic was weird, and like that were the first shows that we'd ever played to a seated audience. But I don't know. We started recording these songs in January last year, and we're kind of expecting. We kind of started rehearsing them fairly quickly, and we're kind of expecting to start playing live around July.
Yeah.
But because we were recording kind of in pieces, like we kind of just did one song at a time. And by the time we got to July, when we're kind of expecting to start playing, you know, we're in the middle of the pandemic, and like the possibility of a show wasn't even a thing. So it kind of gave us an extra couple of months to finish recording and figure out how we wanted to bring everything into a live set. And we also just, because we could actually rehearse at that point too. So that meant we kind of had between July and November when we played our first show, it kind of gave us like a couple of months to just rehearse heaps and make sure the live set was like completely rock solid, which I think really worked in our favor, because now that we can play shows, we've been rehearsing for 6 months, and it just kind of meant that the live show was much stronger than it probably would have been if we'd started playing in July or whatever. So, and I think, yeah, just the reaction to everything's been so great. So I think that's definitely played into it for sure.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, that's a really good point, actually, being able to, I don't know, like putting off the gig side of stuff and being able to like smash it so much that when you finally go out, it's like you're so ready to be there, like you're so ready to be in that setting. And I don't know, I feel like you can feel that in your shows. Like you do unleash this kind of like energy in your live shows where you can feel that sort of like anticipation that's been building for a while. It just like works, like I don't know, all the levels, like all the sound that you guys create, with that kind of bringing that energy. It is a really refreshing sound in Sydney music coming out of 2020. It's not a question, it's just a statement, but
yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, that means a lot because we did put like a lot of effort into it.
Going back to that visual element you were talking about, I mean, you've had this really, really impressive visual accompaniment to both of the singles that you've released, these like great hypercolor clips, made with, is it Mitch Noakes and Fuzzwa? Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
plus this great moment in the rainforest for Third Eye Stimuli. And I guess, I don't know, I'm just interested to have this conversation with you as well. I know you're a real purveyor of psych music and shoegaze and like that scene. Like, do you, in your mind, like, is there a necessity in psych music kind of like culturally within that scene to create a visual moment too? It does seem to have this, they do seem to be have this like historic partnership. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the two are intertwined. I don't know, I think all music does, but I think just I guess the thing about psych music or whatever is like generally you get a bit more room to work with in terms of instrumentation and stuff, and yeah, there's maybe just like a bit less focus on the performers and kind of a bit more focus on just like, you know, the sound or the environment, which kind of I think plays into visual stuff much better. I don't know, you see a pop act and all eyes are on the performer and, you know, what they're wearing and stuff, and like a lot of those shows do have great visual elements, but I think especially with shoegaze where like bands may not have engaged with an audience as much as, you know, other artists might have, so I think having another visual element to engage with kind of just plays into that style of music really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it was something important for us, and it's kind of another thing with us having that time to kind of get the band together before we actually launched it live, or even launched the first single. It was like we had a bit of time to kind of think about how we wanted things to look visually, and Harry, our guitarist, is a graphic designer, so having him kind of do everything himself, and he's just like taking the reins with all of that, and so we've been able to keep that internal. And yeah, he kind of just had an extra couple of months to get all of that together and, you know, figure out with Mitch, who's a good friend of ours, how we wanted the videos to look. And yeah, we weren't really forced to rush into it, so it kind of allowed us to create a visual identity along with the music, which I think just makes everything more engaging and easier to latch onto, especially when there's just so much good music out there. It's just, yeah, having that extra thing to latch onto is really important, I think.
Sounds like you guys really like made lemonade out of, you know, 2020, and like it's, you know, gave you a lot of like time and space to create this really incredible like launch pad for this project. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do next. It's like, I know you guys have got a few things up your sleeve, like I can tell. When are we gonna hear from you guys again?
So we've kind of got, yeah, last year we recorded a whole EP, so we've got a whole EP done. So we'll probably drop another single and then put the EP out, you know, in the next couple of months, which is exciting. We've kind of been sitting on that for a while, even though we just put the finishing touches on it last week. But we're just like, we've been writing heaps and there's lots of stuff in the bag. So we're keen to just keep rolling with it and keep recording. We're definitely going to keep working with James, he's super excited to continue working with us. So I think we'll just jump it back into the studio kind of as soon as possible and keep putting as much music out as possible.
Yay. Well, that's great news. And yeah, one of the more exciting bands I think to emerge out of 2020 in Sydney. So can't wait to see what else you've got for us. But thanks for having a chat.
Thanks.
This is great.
Pleasure. Thanks so much, Jaimee.